Eddie Rabbitt eventually exposes the truth about Elvis after lying about him for a long time. Eddie Theodore Thomas Rabbit was born in Brooklyn, New York, on November 27, 1941. East Orange, New Jersey, is where he was raised. Rabbitt was from a low-income family. His father was employed at an oil company and was Irish-American. He was a talented musician who could play the accordion and violin. He had an Eastern European mother. Due to his father's traditional Irish songs and his own fascination with rhythm and language, Eddie developed a love for music from an early age. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. And hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, back to the topic. What we were talking about was, at the age of 12, he began learning how to play the guitar. He was already writing his own songs and performing in pubs as a teenager. Despite dropping out of high school, Rabbitt had a purpose. He put a lot of effort into his music career while working a variety of jobs to earn money and attending night classes to earn his diploma. He traveled to Nashville to enter the country music industry in the mid-1960s. It was a significant risk that ultimately paid off. He rose to fame first as a lyricist and then as a recording artist. The recording of Rabbitt's song, Kentucky Rain, in 1970 was one of Elvis Presley's first major successes. Rabbitt became a well-known and talented songwriter when the song became a great hit for Presley. His reputation quickly spread across Music City as musicians from all over the city began recording his songs. Rabbitt had transitioned from a behind-the-scenes lyricist to a vocal celebrity by the mid-1970s. Hits like Drinking My Baby, Off My Mind, which peaked at number 1 on the 1976 country charts, helped him gain rapid fame after he signed with Elektra Records. People in both the country and pop genres found it easy to enjoy his music because of his professional production, appealing tunes, and soothing voice. One of the first to successfully blend these two genres of music, this singer did so with style and bravery. I Love a Rainy Night, Every Which Way But Loose, and Driving My Life Away were among the top 100 songs in the country music and Hot 100 charts. I Love a Rainy Night was a popular song. It accomplished the extremely uncommon and remarkable feat of reaching the top of both the country and pop charts in 1981. In addition to his popularity in the music industry, Rabbitt's kind demeanor, candid lyrics, and poignant performances won him over many followers. Many of his greatest songs, which he penned or co-authored, were inspired by actual incidents in his life. He frequently sung about the joys of living a simple life, the thrill of love, and the beauty of ordinary moments. Rabbitt resembled the upbeat, diligent folks in the American middle. A major factor in his success was his New Jersey upbringing, which provided him with a distinct viewpoint and enabled him to relate to both country and mainstream fans. However, Rabbitt experienced sadness at several points throughout his life. Perhaps the most devastating tragedy in his personal life occurred in the early 1980s when his small son Timothy, who was born with biliary atresia, passed away before turning 2. Rabbitt was devastated by the defeat. To cope with his loss and spend time with his family, he temporarily avoided the spotlight. Rabbitt, however, remained resilient despite this. He felt more profoundly than ever when he returned to music. He wrote songs based on his thoughts and sadness. He frequently stated that being a husband and father meant more to him than notoriety or wealth, and that his family was always the most important thing in his life. Eddie Rabbitt continued to perform and tour throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Rabbitt maintained his lyrical and melodic flair despite the shift in musical trends. Even after he quit topping the charts, he remained a well-known and adored character in country music. He was also well known for his charitable contributions, particularly in the areas of children's education and health. In 1976, Eddie Rabbitt wed Janine Girardi. She would be his lifetime companion and a loving mental bulwark during all of his highs and lows. Rabbitt frequently spoke lovingly about Janine in interviews. His description of her was heartwarming, a little thing about 5 foot tall with long black beautiful hair and a real pretty face. Throughout their marriage, his remarks demonstrated a profound love and respect for her. In addition to being personal, their love inspired Eddie's songwriting. He created the heartfelt melodies, Pure Love, and Sweet Janine, with her in mind before they were married. The lyrics and music demonstrated his growing affection for her. Pure Love, a breakthrough song by Ronnie Milsap in 1974, also paved the way for Rabbitt's great singing and songwriter career. The affectionate and joyous tone of those early songs made it obvious how deeply and sincerely he felt for Janine. With Janine, he created a family that grew to be the most significant aspect of his life. Tommy, a male, and 2 girls, Damn Elsa, were born. He found much joy and meaning in life from all 3. However, their family did have some painful moments. A rare liver condition that can be fatal is biliary atresia. Timmy, their second kid, had it at birth. The report was awful. The bile tubes are either absent or clogged in biliary atresia, which prevents bile from exiting the liver and results in liver failure. Despite their best efforts, doctors were unable to save Timmy's life until he received a liver transplant in 1985. Sadly, the transplant failed, and Timmy passed away shortly after. The loss of his son caused Rabbitt great emotional and spiritual pain. Timmy was a devoted parent, and his loss affected him profoundly. He had to make the difficult decision to take a little hiatus from his country music career following this awful incident. "Where I was more important than leaving the music business," he stated after the break. These remarks demonstrated his affection for his family and his need for time away from the pressures of public life to grieve and recover. Rabbitt prioritized spending time with his wife and children throughout this period. Instead of the limelight, he found courage and solace in the silent support of his friends and family. In 1986, Tommy, the Rabbit family's 3rd child, was born. His birth was a gift that restored brightness to the family, who were already grieving a loss. The loss of Timmy would always hurt them, but Eddie found fresh happiness, optimism, and purpose when Tommy entered the picture. His family was always there for him, and Janine remained by his side even when things in his life went awry. A significant aspect of Eddie Rabbitt's life was his devotion to his wife and children. It influenced his music and shaped the man he was before he rose to fame. Eddie Rabbitt rose to fame as a smooth-voiced country pop singer-songwriter in the 1970s and 1980s. Prior to becoming a famous himself, he wrote songs for other musicians, which contributed significantly to his early popularity. Writing a song for the King of Rock and Roll, Elvis Presley, was one of the most significant aspects of his early career. Rabbitt remained silent and modest about the depth of his relationship with Elvis for many years. He frequently downplayed the significance of their relationship or ignored praise. In a rare and intimate interview later in life, Rabbitt finally shared what it meant to him as a musician and a person to collaborate with Elvis. He was unvarnished in his honesty. Rabbitt penned Kentucky Rain, a powerful, melancholic ballad with striking imagery and eerie feeling, in the late 1960s. Rabbitt co-wrote the song with Dick Hurd. It became an immediate smash for Rabbitt, who was still trying to establish himself as a songwriter in Nashville when Elvis recorded it in 1969 and released it in 1970. Kentucky Rain's enormous success was a major advancement. The extent to which Elvis's rendition of the song altered his career and self-esteem was unknown to the public, as Rabbitt would subsequently reveal. Rabbitt described over the phone how he found out that Elvis had decided to record his song. In his own words, "I was shocked. This was Elvis Presley, after all." The method that American music was produced was altered by this individual. "My words were being sung by him." He spoke admiringly of Elvis's ability to make the song seem sentimental. He claimed that Rabbitt himself had not really comprehended the soul and drama that the King's rendition brought to the song while he was creating it. Rabbitt claimed that he felt it, not simply sang it. He composed Kentucky Rain as a journey, a solitary, frightful adventure. A man searching for a lost love was not the only one. It was about passion, love, and losing a loved one. That was all his. For decades, there was much discussion over Rabbitt's involvement in the recording session and whether or not he and Elvis actually met. Rabbitt expressed his sadness that he had never had the opportunity to meet Presley face to face. "We never got to meet," he said, and that was accurate. "I hoped we would always. I wanted to give him a handshake and say, "Thank you for believing in my song." But it wasn't due to luck. I could still feel his presence in the song. Perhaps the most telling was Rabbitt's admission that Elvis had had a subtle influence on him throughout his career. He said that his storytelling style and vocal delivery in songs such as "I Love a Rainy Night," "Driving My Life Away," and "Every Which Way But Loose" were greatly impacted by Elvis Presley's work. "Elvis gave me permission to be dramatic," he said, "to pour every ounce of myself into a song and not be afraid of where it took me." His true talent was using music to convey tales. "It was for everyone who felt that way, not just for myself." Rabbitt gave a modest yet sentimental smile when asked why he had kept silent for so long about how much Elvis meant to him. "I didn't want to seem like I was clinging to his name for fame," he stated. "I believe I earned my way by working hard. But now that time has gone by, I believe people should know that I loved him as a symbol of what was possible as well as an artist. Elvis gave me the confidence to accomplish this. He let me in, and I will always be grateful." Fans were given a heartwarming glimpse into the heart of a man who, in spite of his own celebrity, never forgot the greats who came before him. When Eddie Rabbitt spoke candidly about Elvis Presley in his final years. By telling the truth about Elvis, Rabbitt did more than just pay tribute to him. He connected the two traditions with integrity, modesty, and a strong sense of musical fraternity. In the 1990s, Rabbitt kept recording and performing, but he began to pick and choose which performances to attend as younger musicians dominated the country music scene. In 1997, he was diagnosed with lung cancer. He demonstrated his strength and resilience by continuing to play music for as long as he could despite his illness. His loving departure gift to his family and his followers was the album Songs from Rabbit Land, which consisted of children's songs he had composed for his own kids. In the final years of his life, Eddie Rabbitt, the well-known country pop singer and composer with successes like "I Love a Rainy Night" and "Driving My Life Away," suffered from a hidden but eventually deadly health issue. Rabbitt had been a long-time cigarette smoker. He had been engaging in this terrible behavior for decades, which is known to cause lung cancer among other cancers. Rabbitt was aware of the negative health implications of smoking, but like many people his age, he had developed a strong addiction to the practice before fully comprehending its long-term consequences. His personal struggle with tobacco would ultimately have a tragic impact on his life. Rabbitt received the devastating news that he had lung cancer in March 1997. Since he had largely kept the illness a secret, the announcement startled fans as well as many of his close friends and family. In order to prevent the disease from spreading, Rabbitt began a rigorous treatment regimen that included surgery to remove a portion of his lung and radiation therapy to reduce the tumors. He was going to fight. Although there were moments during his therapy when there was optimism, the illness was ultimately too advanced, and the operations were extremely painful. Rabbitt decided not to disclose his condition to the world, and he was incredibly tough during his battle. His calm manner and unflinching optimism told anybody who spoke with him that his health was deteriorating. On May 7, 1998, Eddie Rabbitt passed away in Nashville, Tennessee, at the age of 56. Nashville served as both his creative home and the backdrop for a large portion of his prosperous career. Rabbitt had attempted to conceal his condition, thus his passing startled those in the music industry. His family respectfully and privately requested that the news media hold off on reporting his passing until after the funeral. They might grieve in this way without drawing attention to themselves. The following day, May 8, Rabbitt was buried in Nashville's Calvary Cemetery. It was a serene location for one of the most well-known voices in country music to rest. The secrecy of his death surprised even some of his closest business associates. Rabbitt's longtime agent was stunned and incredulous when she heard the news. She had communicated with him frequently during his illness. In their previous conversations, Rabbitt had always been cheerful and had never mentioned his impending death, the agent recalled. Being upbeat was a major aspect of Rabbitt's personality. He was well known for being polite, upbeat, and devout, all of which remained constant throughout his most trying times.